when I was a conservative evangelical Christian. I'm a graduate of Moody Bible Institute. The Bible is our middle name. And so I come from that world. I come from your world. I ended up changing my mind, not because I wanted to be hard-hearted, or because I wanted to oppose God, or because I just wanted to be mean-spirited. I changed my mind because I thought I was wrong. And it was emotionally very difficult. But it's what I think is right. So I'm not urging you to follow my path, follow your own path. The question is, did Jesus consider himself to be divine? Now, I'm in a real handicap here, because it's quite clear that Jesus in the New Testament does declare himself divine. The clearest proof of that is John chapter 15, verse 1. Jesus explicitly says, I am divine, you are the branches. So I'm really up against it here, because there it is. Did Jesus claim to be God?
Okay, well, there you go. Somebody on Twitter said that they involuntarily laughed when I told that joke on the last dividing line. I think my timing was better on the last dividing line. But give him credit. He was interrupted because they could tell they're having sound problems. And so some guy walks up and, hey, at least the lights didn't go out. That we do. Evidently, Red didn't make it to this debate, so at least the lights didn't go out, and that's probably a good thing. But there's the evidence. I am divine, and you are the branches. Saw that one coming from a mile off, but as long as you get laughs, I guess you just keep using it.
Right. How much time have I spent already? How much time have I wasted already? Okay. Good, thank you. Okay. Let me start off by saying what we're not debating, because I think it's very important for us to be on the same page. Now, what we're not debating, before I get to what I think we are debating, we are not debating the question, is Jesus God? Most of you think that he is God, and I'm not debating that. I'm not saying that Jesus was not God. I'm an agnostic. I personally don't believe Jesus was. That's not what we're debating. Okay, just so you can understand. Secondly, we're not asking, did the writers of the Gospels think Jesus was God? I think the answer is yes. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in different ways, thought that Jesus was God. But that's not what we're debating.
Okay, so very important. Catch that right there. All my Muslim friends, did you hear what Bart Ehrman just said? If you're going to quote Bart Ehrman in the future, make sure you just heard him say, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all thought Jesus was God in different ways, but they all thought he was God. This idea that they all thought he was just a prophet or something, don't quote this guy as being supportive of your position. He's not. He's wrong on that too, but the point is at least accurately represent that. But what he's saying is the gospel writers did believe this, and that's going to be part of his argument. They did believe it, and therefore the evidence they give for it must be dismissed. Because they did believe it. So that ends up becoming evidence that Jesus didn't believe it. Think that one through, and you'll see how it works out later on.
We're debating, did Jesus claim to be God? We're also not debating, does Jesus claim to be God in the New Testament? We're not debating that. Because in the New Testament, Jesus does claim to be God. He doesn't claim to be God in any of the passages that Justin just mentioned. As you may have noticed if you paid careful attention. Jesus, in none of those passages, does Jesus say, I am God.
Now there was Bart Ehrman channeling Ahmadiyya. In none of these passages did Jesus say, I am God. Well, again, they're going to get into John chapter 14, Mark chapter 14, the Son of Man statement. Ehrman's going to do his, there's just so many books on the subject of the Son of Man, and it's just very complicated, and everybody thought they had it figured out 100 years ago, but now nobody really knows. And again, if you listen carefully, what he's going to say is, oh yeah, there are plenty of places where Jesus identifies himself as the Son of Man. But then there are these others that, given his theory of who Jesus was, and given his theory of how the gospel writers are self-contradictory and how they're myth-making and making stuff up. See, the idea that you could actually go to the New Testament and go, who is the Son of Man? Well, you put these together and you harmonize them. No. Naivete, pre-critical thinking. No. The critical thinker says you can't harmonize. No. You guilty until proven innocent is our motto. And so, who the Son of Man is, that's going to come up. He's going to admit that in John, Jesus says he's God. He says John 8:58 is the clearest you get. Before Abraham was, I am. But Jesus clearly didn't say that. In fact, the very last words that he utters in this debate, because he got the last word, was the vast majority of modern New Testament scholars do not believe that anything in the Gospel of John is historical. That's the last claim that he makes. So given his standards, there's no way that Dr. Bass could even make an argument. We don't know what Jesus said from his perspective, and therefore cannot affirm that Jesus ever claimed to be God. It's easy way to get to the end point of your debate, I guess, but not overly useful.
The first passages he mentioned were from the writings of the Apostle Paul, where Jesus was not speaking. Elsewhere, Jesus talked about being the Son of God. We're asking not, was Jesus the Son of God? We're asking, did Jesus call himself God? He does in some places in the New Testament. John chapter 8, verse 58, Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. The Jews know perfectly well what he's saying. They take out stones to stone him to death. I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Unambiguous. Whoever has seen...
Now, by the way, unambiguous. Now, again, I'd like my Muslim friends, I know you're listening,